Ladies and gentlemen, we brought KCA to Brooklyn, then to Manhattan. Now, the Kingdom Choice Awards will be touching down in Queens, New York. Live from the iconic Queens Theater, Saturday, September 19th. Presented by Kingdom Time Entertainment. Powered by Holy Culture Radio. All planes, trains, and automobiles lead to New York City for the 2026 KCA, the nation's official award show for Christian hip-hop and urban kingdom music. It's more than an award show. The KCA is a kingdom experience. Get your tickets now at www.queenstheater.org.
This is Real Rap 100, and we keep it 100.
Hands, but a lot of times we don't give God nothing to bless if we don't put our hands to work.
Come on, bro.
Talk that
Come
talk,
on, bro.
That's that Vanguard talk, man. I be trying to tell him, man.
You and this something, bro.
Super excited for Christian hip hop culture. The thing I love about the KCA is what I'm looking at right now is that I'm seeing growth. I told Marcus, who's the person who put this together, is that Christian hip hop feels like what hip hop felt like in the 90s, where it was indexing way higher than its investment.
This is Real Rap 100,
And every time somebody said something to me, God said, this is why I created you. I make no mistakes. I have a plan for your life. And since then, God has been using me one song at a time, one day at a time, 1 year at a time. My name is Gifted Hands.
This is Real Rap 100, where we have real rap and we keep it 100. Hosted by Marcus and Richard Dolphin.
Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy Marcus Hall, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Real Rap 100, where we have real rap and we keep it 100. This platform is sponsored by Kingdom Time ENT, which is a multimedia production company that pushes urban kingdom culture. So yeah, we're back with another real one, man. And this one's special. We have a special guest this week. If you was here last week, you already know we had a phenomenal time, man, with, Jared All-Star and the God Chasers family. If you haven't checked out his album yet, please do so. Let the Dogs Eat is available now on all streaming platforms. Shout out to those of you who are jumping on the live. Please tell a friend to tell a friend that Real Rap 100 is live. The realest platform on the planet is back with another real one. And please share the link also. So listen, without no further delay, please give it up for my co-worker, my co-host, my brother from another mother. Yeah, I call him the barologist. Yeah, give it up for Richard Dolphin.
Yeah. We in the building. You know what I'm saying? We back. Back-to-back weekend, so we won't hear nobody. Last weekend, we had a great episode with my bro, Jared All-Star, man. So listen, if we just keeping the ball rolling, man, on Real Rap, man. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I was getting mad love for that episode. Like, a lot of people was hitting me up and saying, like, yo, they liking the show, they liking the vibe. So listen, let me give everybody some orders. If you like the show, by all means, like, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Set an alert, because a lot of people was just like, yo, I need an alert where this show.
Yep, hit that notification button.
Get that notification so that you can, every time we're on, you are alerted so that you can not only enjoy the show for yourself, but then pass it on, show love, send a text, let somebody know, hey, this is the show I was talking about, you know what I mean? So we can definitely grow, and this is how you guys help us help you, so we can provide you with the content that you need, man.
That's right. So let me just announce, you saw the promo in the intro for the Kingdom Choice Awards. We are working hard behind the scenes. A lot of things, falling in place, a lot of things going on. As I always say, this is not an easy event to do. Been doing this event since 2009, man. And every year I quit. Every year I say I'm done with this. But man, God just won't let me go, man. Seriously, I feel like I feel like Jacob right now. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling with God.
Wrestling with the Lord.
And I never win the fight. I always walk away with my hip dislodged.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But listen, pray for us. Pray for us, man. If you're interested in sponsoring or if you know anybody who might, please, reach out to us. Our official website. I know everyone's used to going to the Kingdom Time Media website, but we have an official website for kingdomchoiceawards.org that should be actually launched on Monday. We're working on it right now. So, look out for that. Also, we have been getting a lot of submissions in for the pre-show. What pre-show we're talking about? If you don't know, you need to know. And if you don't know, you should be ashamed of yourself because it's the dopest pre-show on the planet. You know what I'm saying? It is So You Think You Got Bars. Yes, the KCA official pre-show event, which will be held on September 18th, which is the night before the main event of the Kingdom Choice Awards. This has been a hit pre-show for the last 2 years. It's been a movie. We have contestants come and showcase their lyrical skills, and it is a nail-biting. The audience, they just get so involved. It's emotional, it's tense, but it's dope. No, it's not a battle. We don't do battles, but it's just a showcase. It's a great night. And listen, if you think you have what it takes to participate, there are only 6 slots. We've had a bunch. And listen, I'm actually already excited about a couple of people who we've already cleared to be on the lineup. So right now, there's still a toss-up for like maybe 4 positions. You know what I'm saying? But we try to pick the best because we want people to come out and enjoy themselves and have a great time. So You Think You Got Bars. If you was there before, that event is a movie.
Yeah. Special.
You know what I'm saying?
Special.
All right.
It's pretty, I think it doesn't do its job so much as a pre-show because it's right there with the show. You know what I'm saying? It's on the same level. We spent how many times for the last 2 years in a row, we spent majority of the time at the show talking about the pre-show.
Yes.
So
it's always a thing.
Don't want to miss it.
Yeah, it's always a thing. So yeah, man, we have a special guest we're about to introduce to the platform. It's his first time touching Real Rap 100, and we're honored to have him, man. He has an amazing story. I have a few things in common with him. He's a videographer, filmmaker, which is in my lane. And I've really just kind of got to know of him and did some minor research because I like to do things authentically. I don't want to plan too much. And listen, man, I'm really, blessed and inspired by this man's ministry. I know we're gonna have a great conversation. So listen, without no further delay, Real Rap 100, please give it up for video director, filmmaker, artist, creative.
Yes.
Listen, give it up for Marcel Patillo.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Salute.
Blessings,
man.
Marcel.
You, man.
Man. Welcome to the platform. Yes, sir. So how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, man. I'm blessed. Just creating away over here. Got a lot of good things in the oven right now. Just trying to let them simmer and get to the finishing process.
Awesome.
In which bag? Because you got a multiple, you say something simmering. You gotta put that in the subject. You talking music, you talking film, you talking about movies.
Yeah, man.
Come on,
Yeah. Well, my music project is just getting started, so there's a lot to get done there. I'm big on presenting value. I also do a lot of marketing, and that's the first thing I tell a lot of my clients is we have to find out the value that your company brings. I don't like to just promote something to promote something. And I am able to me it's such a message and such a vision from God that I just want to make sure that it's done well, done right. And we've got some really exciting things in the works visually and sonically for the audience ahead.
Awesome. So, for those who don't know who Marcel Patillo is, let's just give a bit of a backstory so that we can get to know who the man Marcel Patillo is.
Yeah, man. Well, I come from the great Leon and Jackie Patillo.
Yes.
Leon, he was a old Christian singer. I guess he was probably one of the first CCM kind of pop artists that exist. And then my mom went on to do A&R after they got divorced. And so being raised in that family, all I knew at first was music. I think my brother started touring as a dancer with DC Talk when he was 10 and I was 5.
Wow.
So by the time I was moving out of the house, literally all I knew was music. Whatever school taught me went in one ear and out the other, because I was always racing home to get on the guitar, get on the drums, get on the keyboard. And so I was raised in a very musical family. But it was cool seeing it on my mom's side. She was an executive going from A&R to general manager at Integrity and then vice president of Sony Gospel. I got to see the industry and artistry from a different side, especially Christian artistry. I got to see how cutthroat it could be. I got to see kind of from an A&R or album perspective, the hiccups that they run across with the Christian artists. And it gave me, I think, a different perspective than probably most artists have on what being an artist is and what being a Christian artist is, especially.
Awesome. So how did you get into the film part of things and like the videography side of things?
Man, about 10 years ago, I had a friend that was doing some filming for me, and he was like, I'm going to film this thing and maybe you can edit it. And I fell in love with the editing process. And shortly after that, I bought a camera. And it just happened, man. This is such a God thing, because I just started kind of following God at this point in my life. I was an adult, but I just started following God. And Lululemon was also moving into town. And I just happened to be doing kind of a lot of gym videos at the time, gym promos, athlete promos. And so I guess they heard in the grapevine that I would be good to work with for regional work here in the Southeast. And so one of my first clients as a videographer was Lululemon, and I got to learn so much from their marketing team and the advice that they gave me. And I went on to do commercials for Steel Fit, who makes abs of steel and buns of steel, and Optimum Nutrition, who makes protein powder all around the world. And it gave me a lot of really, really cool opportunities. And it was almost like God fast-tracked me once he put a camera in my hand and he saw my commitment to it. He opened the door for a lot of awesome things that really just taught me a lot in the process.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome, bro. To say like 10 years ago, and yeah, you're right. God did like just line you up and throw you into, you know what I'm saying? Because like I've been editing longer than that. And I've done a few things, but for you to be thrown into that level, but that's why I guess you learn so much. Because I was actually looking at your YouTube channel, The Modern Filmmaker, earlier today, and I was checking out some stuff, and very knowledgeable, bro. And what I appreciate about it is that you're sharing your knowledge. You're sharing what you know. I'm going to be living on your YouTube page for a couple of months. No, for real, because I love to glean from other videographers, and especially brothers like yourself who clearly have like dedicated yourself to the science of it, as far as color, being a colorist and, you know, lighting. Because sometimes, like, I've known people who went to film school, who went to school, and then I know other brothers like myself who didn't. I mean, I did a couple of courses like with Yellowstone, you know, and stuff like that. But like, I've seen those who have gone through the whole thing, got degrees in this, and they're not as good, you know, as the raw talent dudes. And hearing you, I'm like, wow. I'd like to know, was there any schooling for you, or was it just raw, hands-on experience?
Yeah, man, it's just hands-on experience, bro. I say the best ability is availability, and I think one thing you learn from school is the ability to get out there and take the jobs. And you know, like I said, I mean, you know, maybe I have some kind of gift in it, but from my perspective, it really feels like God kind of put me with really great teams that taught me a lot fast. And I was hungry in the beginning. I was early on. I had no ego. I had no structure. So I fortunately got to learn from some really, really talented and great companies when I was still very moldable in the process.
Awesome. So again, you coming out of a family of just music, right? I'm sure there were a lot of pressures, and again, I'm just assuming this because it's like, you know, having the parents that you have, and you know, your older brother Gabe You know, God rest his soul. I know he passed. I know, like, I see that almost like being like a preacher's kid almost. You know what I'm saying? That, like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's almost, I assume it's a similar experience, because here you are with these parents who have this status, you know, and even your brother having this status, and now, hey, you got to walk the fine line. Because it wasn't until like recently I used to be always like, I used to hear people say, you know, being a pastor's kid is rough, preacher's kid is rough. And I'll be like, and it was recently I was like, well, why? And then it hit me like, because you have to put on this front that you're perfect.
Yeah,
and
you represent that church pretty much.
Right. So was that kind of the same experience or similar?
Similar in a way where sometimes you'll hear, for me, being raised in the church and in a Christian household with, Christian music executives and artists, by the time I was in my late teens, I was ready to go figure things out for myself. And sometimes you see that, there's either the pastor's kid who kind of follows the pastor's lead, and there's the pastor's kid that's kind of like, this is all I've ever seen, and I need to see more to actually be convinced for myself. And that's kind of the path I took. And honestly, it's not a smart path. I think it was just my pride and young arrogance and maybe eagerness to see what the world had to offer. But I will say one thing, man, is my family that's made the pressure a little less is they followed purpose. And so one thing that's always been dear to my heart is, man, I can only do a job for the money for so long, no matter how much money, no matter what the job is. If it's purely for the income, I feel like I'm lacking something, because I was raised in a household of purpose, watching my brother dance from a young age and then grow up and work with TobyMac. And my mom, she loved what she did. She wasn't, she was a very busy mom, but at the same time, she was never complaining when she came home, unless it was about a situation she had to deal with. But usually she was so joyful to be able to hook these artists up with producers and to help these artists find the rhythm and to build their careers, and then to go on and do that in a bigger level. And then now with the Dove Awards, she's so passionate about the Dove Award experience. She's so passionate about the new museum they have in downtown Nashville. So for me, it felt less like pressure and more like almost like it allowed me to live in purpose. Like, Marcel, it's okay if you don't have everything figured out. If you don't have the best credit score or the biggest bank account, find your purpose. That's the most important thing. And honestly, if you put your passion into what God's purpose is for your life, you will see the reward. You will see the finances. You will see him provide in ways you never imagined, as long as you're willing to say yes to him. So there was a little bit of pressure, and maybe there still is, but to me, it feels a little bit normal. And if anything, what I feel is, Marcel, follow your passion, because that could lead to changing people's lives, to maybe even changing an industry like my mom's life has.
Right. That's awesome, bro. That's a word right there. Like, I believe a lot of people can really, receive that, because there's a lot of people who are pursuing certain careers or in certain places in, entertainment, and they are chasing the bag. That's all it is. They're just chasing the bag, and they're absolutely miserable. They're frustrated. But as you said, chase purpose, man.
Yes. You know what? I'm sorry to do this, but I just screenshotted a Bible verse the other day.
Right.
That really hit this home. And hopefully I can find it here. It really kind of took this whole thing to another level. It's in Psalms. I know that for sure. I can't remember the exact verse it was, but it said that a man isn't meant to spend his day and night working for a wage. And that there's just, overall, it said that there's just more to that. And it's really true, because if you're a Christian, especially, and you believe that there is a creator of this universe, of this entire galaxy, and yet at the end of the day, at so many points in the Bible, he points to us as his biggest creation, as the thing he puts the most intentionality into, the most purpose into. Most of his passion was poured into us. All the beautiful landscapes and the world we see around us, that was only to house his greatest creation until we can see them again in heaven. And so we have to believe that he sent us here intentionally with a specific purpose and passion. And I had to learn the hard way that some of the weirdest, most unusual things about me that I consider weird and unusual are some of the things that are my power, that make me unique in this world. Those are the things that God sent me down here with and said, use these things. I need you to use these things. And once you find those things, I always encourage people to find that, because God will back your purpose up with vision that will just guide where you go next.
Amen.
I would love to. I want to chime in on this, because what you said was just like was so key and on the money, you know. And with your journey coming from your family, you know, you're kind of like, you know, a gospel made man, right? Like in the sense, you know, for lack of a better term, right? Being in the God, being born into this industry, right, where you got a chance to see things that most people don't see. You have a unique perspective, and being a creative, right, in your own right, or blossoming into your creative with everything that you've seen from both sides. You know, I'm curious to know, with your perspective and passion on purpose, how do you see, as believers, we channel, and how do we find our identity in regards to purpose? Because it's so easy, especially those who are creatives, to want to follow and think my purpose is to do what this person did, or my purpose, and let me channel my gift to do what this person did, to emulate that, and then you lose what it is that you had trying to emulate. Or even, how do you find yourself, because you speak with such authenticity? So I just want to throw that in your lap, and as it may, and just show us.
Good. I want to hear the answer.
Well, man, I mean, you hit it right there on the head, Richard. Authenticity is everything, bro. I think you know, you guys are old enough to remember Britney Spears and Mandy Moore, Christina Aguilera, and Pink. That's four Caucasian girls, four blondes, all in the pop space.
Right.
But they all were unlike each other completely.
Right.
You know, they all had different branding, all had different personalities. We all viewed them as completely different artists. We didn't really look at them as, oh yeah, those are the same girls. They were all different girls, and they had different vibes. They had different audiences. And I think as Christians, we don't really look into what's unique about us, because that right therein lies the vision that'll get us past. You know, I used to be a really hardcore alcoholic. I mean, I had a really hard time with alcohol for a large majority of my life. And, you know, people always ask, what got you past that? What got you over that hump? And honestly, it was getting to know myself and the vision that God had for my life. Because you can't just take something that consumes a good portion of your brain and just remove it. If you remove it, then you're it's almost like, you know, idle hands are the devil's playground. You want to fill it back with something. And so if anybody out there is struggling with finding your purpose or your identity in Christ, it's literally in you. But as Christians, there is kind of this thing, I think it kind of comes with Bible verses like the meek shall inherit the earth, that kind of almost, a lot of us would assume that the meek would mean lowly. Keep yourself under, stay quiet, don't ask for much. I heard a guy named Jordan Peterson once say that in his translations and all the translations he's read of the meek shall inherit the earth, and in his study, what he came away with, it means those who have a sword but keep it sheathed. Which to me, that's a lot more in line with what God would say, because you can't be lowly and yet God asked us to lead. You know, we have no problem letting Netflix tell us what to watch, letting JP Morgan Chase tell us where to put our finances for retirement. We have no problem following the world when in spaces that we should be leading. We are called to lead. And I think a lot of that starts with authenticity and finding ourselves. And sometimes that can feel a little selfish, but the truth is, you can pour out so much more if you know how to fill yourself. But I think a lot of Christians are walking around not even knowing how to fill their own cup, because they haven't really broke into who they are.
Come on. That's amazing. That's powerful, bro. Yo, wait, hold on. Besides like creating and all that stuff, you preach too? I hear the preacher or the inspiration, the motivational speaker in you.
Thank you.
For real.
Thank you. You know, that's what I Am Able is all about, though. You know, I feel like for some people, life feels more like a ride. For some people, it feels like a war. For me, it was a lot of depression, My parents split up when I was 3, and my dad's literally living in a house in Bel Air with a TV show on TBN, while my mom, me, and my brother are living in a duplex here in the South. While she's trying to work her way up the corporate ladder and find her calling. So I mean, as glorious as the overall story seems, there's a lot of struggle wrapped in there. And I want to stand with those that feel that struggle, because the war we live in between is very, very real. And I think you have to stay fortified and just knowledgeable that the devil is fighting for you in your sleep. He's fighting for you when you're weak. He's fighting for you when you're sad. And so I am able to there's a lot of Christian joy floating around. And I love the joy of the Lord. I pray that he fills it with me every morning. But at the same time, there's going to be those times or situations in life, times in life where you just don't feel the joy. And it can be kind of hard to go to a church or go to a pastor and just say, I'm just not joyful. So I just want to stand with those that feel like they're in the middle of a war.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's powerful. So I Am Able, it's a project.
Yeah, man. It's a music project, but to me, it's more of a creative project. I want to really just open people's eyes and just be somebody that always reminds them, hey, you are in the middle of a very, very, very real war. You are in the middle of extremely powerful dark powers, but you're also in the middle of some extremely powerful light powers. And just encourage people to find themselves and to know that within them, within everything God made them to be, is everything they need to pull them forward and to pull them to the next step, no matter where they're at.
Amen. So you have kind of fused EDM and rap together, right? Which is not a common thing. And I think in some ways it's pretty brave and innovative and courageous, and it sounds dope. And like when somebody like just throws that out there, okay, well, he does, EDM and, Christian hip hop or Christian rap.
Yeah.
The question marks go up because it's not a common sound, right? But it's dope. And before you elaborate on it, I want to play a clip from your single that you released in January, from the beginning. And just to give the viewers a feel of what it looks like and what it sounds like. Awesome. Let's go.
In before we roll up, and every weapon formed against me set to blow up. Break, we got chains to break, we got people to free, and some souls to take. Shake, I wanna see the world shake. Watch a battle for my God, just to see him elevate. My God's the only one who cracked the darkness and can send with this on the sun. Even send the stars and moving bad with a tear them down. I ain't got the devil trying to win what I already won.
Yo, that joint makes me want to put on the whole armor of God.
Let's go.
And start slaying demons in the spirit, bro. Yo, talk to us.
Yeah.
Talk to us, because when I watched that for the first time, it blew me away. Talk to us.
Man, thank you, brother, man. That means so much coming from you guys. It really does, because I know you guys know all about the CHH space, and to be somebody new is very intimidating, because we got a lot of talent in CHH. And to be somebody that brings something different, man, it's just, I'm so grateful that it's being accepted the way it is. But man, I've always loved the hybrid sounds I don't know if you remember when Jay-Z and Linkin Park did an album when we were a lot younger. That was insane.
Encore.
Yeah, man, they had the strings and the electronics and the rap and the energy, man. And I'll never forget that album to me sounded like war, man. It almost sounded like all of the human emotions wrapped in to one album. And I love that rap. Just there's something about it that there's a little bit of a cockiness and almost there's a aggression to it that I love. But EDM also brings a lot of feeling. You know, it almost fills those spaces of emotion that rap generally doesn't fill. And you can kind of lean it a little bit more cinematic if you wanted to get into some more deeper and darker emotions. And so, yeah, man, I'm just trying to create something different that people can rock with that are feeling the war.
Yeah, you are on to something. Because I never, like, when I first heard of EDM, Christian rap, Christian hip hop, I was like, what? That ain't gonna sound right, bro. But then when I listened to that song and watched the visuals, because the visual really complements the music and brings it all to fruition. I was like, yo, this is fire. Like, it was uplifting, it was motivating. As I said, it made you feel like, yo, I'ma slay some demons right now, bro. You know, and then seeing the video with the angels with the swords, and then how you're rapping, it's almost like a chant. You know what I'm saying? And the hook, it's like a chant, like, yo, don't let the devil get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it is a powerful record, bro. It's a very powerful record. And hey, I may really just become a fan of this new sound that you're embarking on. So and listen, this, I know you don't really know me like that, but this is Real Rap 100. We call it Real Rap 100. The slogan is where we have real rap and we keep it 100. If I thought it was like weird sounding, bro, I'd be like, Marcel, I don't know what you think you doing, bro, but God, let God lead you. You know what I'm saying? But real talk.
Keep it up, bro. Keep trying.
Yeah.
It'll come.
Yeah. Now, real talk, you're onto something special, man. And I'm rooting for you. And I'm rooting for you because obviously, you know, I got to hear some of your story and I appreciate your transparency. You know, about, you know, going through the alcoholism and, you know, fighting through that. And, you know, I listened to, I think it was the interview you did with The Fix, and you shared in depth, and, you know, just a lot of things that you've been through, even like, you know, losing your brother Gabe and how that impacted your life. You bounced through and come through a lot, and I'm sure still push through a lot, you know. And that song gave me a glimpse of the warfare in your spirit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that warfare, like it was almost like, yes, you're ministering to us, but you were ministering to yourself as well.
100%, man. To me, each song, to me, is a healing process. To me, it's authentic. Yes. I haven't, you know, you guys know my manager. She's always trying to link me with people to write with, but I don't want to step into any kind of typical writing session where we're just trying to make a hit. You know, to me, I want to walk away from a song or a project and be like, wow, I want to turn that on when I'm feeling low, when I'm in the gym, when I'm with the kids. You know, my brother who passed, he's got 3 kids, all under 14. So
wow.
I want something that I can jump around with them and even bring them a view of how to fight through this very difficult time in all of our lives, but especially theirs.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, again, I'm a fan. And is there anyone in particular in Christian hip hop who you'd love to collab with or you really, really dig as far as their music?
Man, you know, there's kind of the staple guys that are just killers right now. Like KB has a really aggressive sound that I love. I would love to find the right project for somebody like KB. Also Tadashi, you know, his voice, man, his tone is his tone is so authentic, bro. It's like it's the epitome of rap. And so, you know, I'm close enough with Tadashi that we get to talk about making that happen when the right song comes along. But there's even some guys coming up right now. Like there's a guy named Moshcore out there that he's very different. He's very different. Moshcore, spelled like it sounds, but with core, it's a 0 instead of the O. He's very different, but I see a lot of kids like him coming up who are doing, who are just off the wall, man. And I want to make some stuff that's different. You know, I want people to listen and watch the projects, and I want them to feel moved in a different way.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Go ahead, bro. I wanted to ask you, being the fact that with your perspective, you're coming into the space, you know, as a creative, you know, as an artist that's getting ready to come forth. What do you think there needs to be more of, or something that you feel like is lacking in Christian creatives, not just artists, but even as filmmakers? What do you think that's needed in the market space, you know, that's lacking and missing, you know? So from your vantage point.
There we go. You're opening a can of worms now, bro. I see it. Let's go.
That's what I'm here for.
There's an easy answer and there's a troubling answer, and I'm gonna go.
If it's the trouble, we want the trouble.
It's Real Rap 100.
You know, I was at a film festival a couple weekends ago, Christian Film Festival, and I kind of had this realization watching all these different short films and amateur full-length films and even professional full-length films. Some of them will be going to streaming here soon. And, you know, after seeing what I've seen in the music industry and now kind of getting a little bit more familiarized with the Christian film industry, I'm noticing that, man, the CCM, the K-Love, the Air Ones, because there's such few outlets for Christian radio, for instance, they kind of have to try to appease everyone 7 to 70. Now, making songs for everyone from 7 to 70 is, you know, you're going to kind of fall into kind of a mid zone. And I think the films, you know, because we don't have that many Christian film studios and you know, they're kind of scarce, they're taking the same route. They kind of have to try to please everyone. And you can't. And you will never find something innovative and great when you're trying to please everyone. And I think a lot of Christian creatives, they work really hard to stay within this boundary that CCM and Christian film has. And because they're just bouncing around here, when the full spectrum is here, they're trying to stay within here.
That's good.
And the highest they're going to get is here. That's the highest possibly get to, which y'all know, like TobyMac is like an uncle of mine. Just because I've known him since I was a kid. I love him. I love his music. I think he's fantastic. But he's fantastic. He's going to kill me for saying this on an interview. He's fantastic for CCM.
Right. Yeah.
And for somebody that listens to EDM, he kind of dabbles in there, but he's not going to replace my Skrillex. You know, as a rapper, he kind of dabbles in there, but he's not going to replace, you know, Ye. You know what I mean? And to get to those heights of the mainstream world, we have to be confident. We have to be confident in our God and the visions that he's given us, and confident enough to be unique and say, you know what? You know, if I don't make it in this box, because I know a lot of people are thinking, if I don't make it in these guidelines, then I'm just going to end up down here. Then I'm just going to end up getting spit back out. But I just want to encourage people to try to go above it, man. Try to go above that. I knew this was never going to hit Christian radio. You know, I know Christian radio, man. I watched my mom shelf people. I watched her promote people. I watched her fight for certain records to get them on the radio. I know what they'll accept. I know what they won't. I knew they wouldn't accept this. And so be it. So I had to take a risk myself and say, you know what, I got all these connections and maybe if I play the game, I can end up on this big tour, or I can end up on K. But exactly. But then I'm capping myself right.
Right.
I'm not going to do that to me or my God. For sure.
Come on.
I want to get out there, man, because when I almost put out from the beginning, and I had to go to Vegas for some work. And I remember talking to my manager and looking out, you know, one of those big windows in the hotel room that just looks out upon Vegas. And I'd been working on the track in the hotel room, and I was like, I want this to get here. I am able to get into these nightclubs. I want it to get into the dark crevices of the world where the people need it the most. And I'm not get there if I play it safe and try to stay within the guides.
That's good. I love that. That's how I feel. I've just finished my film script recently.
Nice.
Right. I did a document. Yeah, man. Yeah, I can send it to you. And I've done a documentary before. It was really on my dad's history with reggae, sound system culture, and got it on Amazon and stuff.
I was gonna ask where you're from because you kind of sound like New York, but you kind of sound like my family that's from Jamaica. So I was like, well, where is this guy?
Right. Yeah. Well, you got a mix of the British and the New York and the Jamaican. So I'm a bit of I'm a Mexican. You know what I'm saying?
That's
but
a melting pot.
Yeah.
That's
but
melting pot.
Yeah, with the film that I wrote, I said I'm not gonna do a cheesy Christian film, where everything's just like in a certain pocket or in that place. I wanted it to be urban, edgy, and something that not just Christians can relate to, but that dude in the hood can relate to, or even suburban people will take an interest in, but there's a message in it and it's relatable on so many different levels, and that's the risk that I was taking because I didn't want to stay in that bubble. And prayerfully, man. Yeah, prayerfully. So hearing you speak, I feel motivated, man, and inspired to just stay in that pocket and that vein because what you're saying is so key, bro. A lot of us, we pigeonhole ourselves, we limit ourselves, we put, it's like there's this glass ceiling that we create for ourselves, and that's not the God we serve. We serve a glory to glory God. You know what I'm saying? There's no limitations in him, so we need to stop placing those limitations on ourselves because really we've been conditioned to do that. We've been conditioned to do it in our local churches. We've been conditioned to do it in every facet, and it's people like yourself, and others, because you're not the only one, but you're in a unique position though, to really get that fire going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, salute to you, bro.
Thank you. I hope so. One thing I'll say on that is, dude, in our church communities and even our Christian, communities, it can be so light that it's almost like we miss what's actually going on out there, and we almost underestimate what the devil's doing out there. And one weird kind of fixation I've had over the last year and a half on YouTube is like police body cam footage and watching people crash out, because it opens my eyes to like, well, people are really deceived out there, bro. Especially people in, I hate to say it, but especially people in our community, you know, it's tough how deceived they are. And I was actually at the gas station earlier today. I'm so glad this happened today. The second I left the gas station, I was like, I'm going to mention this in the interview. I walk in, there's 3 employees, an older lady, a younger lady, and a younger guy. And when I walk in, they're already in some kind of cussing match. And I couldn't tell if they were being friendly and just vulgar or if something was going on. By the time I got my drink and started heading to the counter, they were in an all-out verbal war. The 3 of them were just, throwing profanities. It was a mess. At the top of their lungs, it was a mess. And I'm just thinking, look at this deception. Right? Like these people, not only, can you tell they don't know God, but it's like, I felt bad because it almost felt like this deception they had to think that this kind of was okay.
It was okay, yeah.
Eventually I'm at the register. One of the girls leaves. The guy at the register is yelling past me at her. She's right behind me yelling past me at him. I'm just trying to check out. And they're just going back and forth, slinging swear words at each other. And I'm thinking, this is insane. Like, God, how do I get to these people who don't realize, like, these people with these attitudes, they're never going to get out of a gas station job, let alone find their calling in life. And so, man, I think we as Christians, we have to open our eyes to that stuff. And sometimes that just looks like, donating your time to maybe a Christian ministry that goes out and works with the homeless, or works out in different communities that are underserved, just to get your eyes on how much deception and how deeply rooted the deception is within the world outside of our small kind of Christian circles.
Man. Amen. It's so true. So true. Who's this?
And we need to tell those stories. I always I feel like as Christians, we want to make every movie kind of like PG, but I want to hear the story about the alcoholic that turned his life around, or the child that came from an accidental hookup between a pimp and a prostitute, and then that person grows up and finds the Lord. I want to see the dirt, and I want to see God reach into that dirt and pull people.
Yes.
And, like you said, we're trying to paint a PG picture. Meanwhile, we live in a rated R reality. You know what I'm saying? And then next, we're looking at this PG like that's the norm, while we're looking at our reality, thinking that, man, no, how can we think that God can actually see? You know what I mean? Paint a picture how God redeems from anybody and God can save anybody, but then you don't even visualize or even fathom God dealing with you because you in the trap. Or you in the bando right now. You over here, your mom's is on drugs, but you don't see the picture of how God can deliver someone from drugs or out of alcohol, out of any this type of addiction. So what you said was so powerful and important.
And I think we do an injustice. We do a poor job of that, trying to project this image, to unbelievers especially, or just to the world. Right. And I think, the ministers and the people who have helped me in my walk have always been the people who have been transparent and honest. You know what I'm saying? Who have said, you know what, me too. Or, hey, this is what I went through, or this is what I deal with, or this is what I'm going through. Because sometimes we, in our local churches, we want to paint this picture, all is well and this, that, and the other, and it does not help. It does not help, because guess what? The unbelievers come in, or they come into contact and they just think, well, your life is all great, and you're just amazing. I'm from the dirt. I'm from the trap. I'm from the mess that I'm dealing with right now. I'm just not God material. It's just like we see, in the Bible where when Jesus told them to cast the net into the sea, right, to catch fish, and they said, "Yo, we've been fishing all night and we caught nothing." He said, "Cast it into the sea," and they cast it in, and they pulled so many fish in, the net started to break.
On the other side.
Right, he said, "Go on the other side," and they pull up so much fish that the net started to break, that to call other men to help them. And what did Peter do? He fell to the ground on his knees. And he said, because at that point he realized that, hey, I'm in the presence of God. I'm in the presence of divinity. And he fell and he said, go away from me, because I'm a sinful man. Well, why did he say that? He said that because he didn't feel worthy enough to be in the presence of this man's presence. But what did Jesus say? He said, come with me, because now I'm going to make you a fisher of men. You know what I mean? And that's what people are like. People sometimes come into our presence, and if we're playing this holy and then thou role and projecting all of that, that's how they feel. Go away from me, because I'm a sinner. Right, exactly. But we have to be able to say to people, hey, listen, this is where I was. This is where I came from. This was my mess. And that's what testifies to people. So, and that's why, Marcel, I appreciate you, coming from the family you came from and having the status you have, but still being able to say, hey, this was my struggle. This is where God has delivered me from. You know how many people that will help? You know how many people that will have that moment of, oh, you too?
Yeah.
Hey,
man.
maybe I need to go try your God. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe I need to go look to that Lord and that Savior that you're talking about.
Yeah, man. You know, the next song I'm releasing, it starts out with, "Would you light up a path and show me the way, Lord? A way to stop secretly using the pain. A way to stop secretly using the meds to deal with the pain, Lord. I keep running back to all the things that lead me to shame, Lord." And it's like, that's how I like to start it out. Like, hey, here's my mess. Yeah. Would you show me the way? Because I keep relying on other stuff to deal with this. And I keep running back to the old stuff to deal with this. And I need to see you. Because sometimes that's how it is. Whether you're a pastor or the guy driving the bus or an artist, sometimes even when you do all the steps, the devil's still on your back. Yeah. And that's okay. It's okay to say, hey guys, the devil's been on my back lately. And that's just a part of the walk, you know?
Yeah. Awesome. Wow. This conversation has been so rich, bro. It has been so rich. It's been such a blessing. And as I said, I'm even more of a fan now. You know what I'm saying? I really am. Like, in so many ways, man. I think, listen, I see God doing some great things through you, brother. Through your music, through, you know, your creative gifts and talents that he's given to you, but just also in your way and ability to speak and share, you know, inspire and motivate people with, you know, I believe God has anointed you for that as well. You know, there's a special calling on you for that. Because everybody don't have it. Like when you can really minister through, your words that you use and share your experiences and articulate it in a way that is impactful. Yeah, man. And I know that falls into the music too, because I felt it with the single. So listen, man, we're rooting for you, my brother. And any little bit of support we can give you, you know, listen, just tell Becky to holler at us. We got you, bro. And I want to get my script over to you as well. Whenever you find the time to read it, I'd love to get your ear on it, and your views on it, I should say, because I believe you'll give me some good, honest feedback, man.
Tell us what you
anything.
Yeah. What you got coming up? What can we look forward to? You know,
the next song will be coming next month. So right now I'm just trying to get all the visuals ready to really bring you guys kind of on the next stage of the journey, because there'll be stages of kind of what I unload as far as visually, and we've seen kind of the war, so I kind of want to dig deeper into that.
Yeah.
And start building things out.
That's awesome. Well, Marcel, again, thank you for jumping on with us, man. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time out just to share. We're excited, man. I'm excited about, you know, this new chapter in your life. And I'll be gleaning from, I'm gonna be on that channel, bro. I'm gonna be watching all of the videos.
Yeah, comments be like, hold up.
No, for real. Because you know what? I've been an Adobe guy for years. Wow. Married to Adobe, Premiere, After Effects, right? And I've been struggling to go to DaVinci. You know, I mean, I use Black Magic, you know, so it only makes.
Come on, Marcus.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
you're using Black Magic gear already?
Yeah, so
yeah, bro, you gotta make the switch, dog.
Yeah, I've downloaded it, and I've made up my mind. All right, I'm gonna lock in because I was like that with Canon for years. Canon cameras for years. I was married to Canon. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was Canon all day, and then as time went on, Sony was just kicking everybody's butt for a while, and I said, you know what? All right, and I went Sony. And I was like, all right, Canon, we got a divorce. You know what I mean? And then now I'm like rocking with Black Magic heavy. But yeah, I'm going for it. So I know everything that you're doing and you're showing on your channel is all DaVinci, which is the standard now. I know it's the standard now. So I'm a bow out, right? But yeah, I'll be gleaning from your channel, my brother.
I'll definitely come back through after the next song comes out, and we can talk about it as well.
Please do, man. We family, and as I said, any way we can support, my brother. You know, salute to you, man. So listen, we're gonna get you out of here. Marcel, again, thanks for jumping on, bro. Real Rap 100, give our brother a round of applause for being here and for blessing the platform, man. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah. Marcel, you take care, all right, bro?
All right, thank you, guys.
Salute to you. That's Marcel. We're about to get out of here, yo. I see Becky in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. She trying to set Marcel up. She trying to set Marcel up.
That's how you manage. That's how you
That's
manage.
right.
That's how you manage. We gotta get you on the show.
That's right.
We gotta get you on the show.
Hey, listen, it's all in your hands, Becky. You're the boss. You're the boss. Shout out to those who jumped on in the chat. Shout out to Jarvis Cooper. I see you, bro. Shout out to Thomas.
Salute to you,
yeah,
bro.
salute. And those who jumped on. And shout out to those of you who are gonna watch the replay. We will be pushing this one, man. There's so much gems that was shared tonight, man. I'm gonna watch this back myself. You know what I'm saying? And I have my notepad ready because Marcel really was dropping some gems on us. I'm about to plagiarize. I'm about to plagiarize all of that stuff.
You got some quotes. If you're creative, this one was for you. This one was for you, tailor-made to create, man. Be authentic, be transparent, do what God called you to do. Don't stay stuck into the box, bro. You know, that everybody thinking the box is the end goal. No, go for what God has called you to do, man. That was one of the biggest things that I got from the conversation, man.
I'm motivated. I feel motivated and inspired right now. You know, and I ain't going front, like, even doing the KCA, man, it's just been so like tough. And today I've just felt a little overwhelmed. And this was a great conversation to have, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a great conversation to have. I feel refreshed. I feel like I got ministered to. You know what I'm saying? For real. I really do. So listen, man, we're going to be out. Again, thank you for those who jumped on. Salute to those of you who are going to watch the replay. Big ups to Marcel Patillo. Check out his music, man. I think I do have some of his socials here. Yeah, you can see him right there. Go to Instagram, Marcel Patillo. And listen, follow him.
I am able.
All of that stuff. Oh yeah, I am able to on Instagram. Listen, follow him, man. He's dope. And if you need that music that's gonna make you put the pimp slap down on the devil, listen, holler at him. If you need that warfare music that's gonna make you go into that place and put the smack down on the devil, you need to really get connected, bro. This is it.
That's the end.
This is the movement, man. I'm telling you. So listen, we're about to be out of here, but I want to thank you all for jumping on. This has been another episode of Real Rap 100, where we have real rap
and we keep it 100, man.
God bless y'all.
This is Real Rap 100, where we have real rap and we keep it 100. Hosted by Marcus.
But a lot of times we don't give God nothing to bless because we don't put our hands to work.
Come on, bro. Talk that talk, bro. That's that Vanguard talk, man. I be trying to tell him, man.
You in this something, bro.
Super excited for Christian hip hop culture. The thing I love about the KCA is what I'm looking at right now is that I'm seeing growth. I told Marcus, who's the person who put this together, is that Christian hip hop feels like what hip hop felt like in the 90s, where it was indexing way higher than its investment.
This is Real Rap 100,
And every time somebody said something to me, God said, this is why I created you. I make no mistakes. I have a plan for your life. And since then, God has been using me one song at a time, one day at a time, 1 year at a time. My name is Gifted Hands.